So if you get any low back pain after you play pickleball, it's actually pretty normal, but there are things that we can do on the court right now and things we can do at home that are gonna help make that a whole bunch better. So when we're playing pickleball, what happens at the kitchen line is we're trying to take time away from our opponent. So we're reaching forward a lot. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing it properly where my butt's back and my chest is up. So what that's doing is it's protecting my back by the strength of my glutes and my legs. Butt's back, chest is up, and I'm taking balls like this. But if we have a tendency to duck our body this way, see how it's rounding my back? It's not even comfortable to do it as an example. That's not only gonna make us pop the ball up, but it's also gonna put a lot of load on our back. So while we're playing pickleball, try to do a lot of this, thinking more about our legs. So my chest is up so I can see Jamie and see what she wants to do with the ball. It's also gonna make me play better, but at the same time, it's gonna protect my back because as I come up from leaning forward, I'm actually doing it with my legs. I'm driving my legs into the ground, which is standing me up, instead of pulling up with my back. So it doesn't even require weight in order for a back to hurt. Even though these pickleball paddles are light and maneuverable, the weight of our own body sometimes is enough to hurt our back. So if we've ever even gotten laundry off the ground or picked up a pencil and we've hurt our back a little bit, that's entirely normal too. But when we're playing pickleball, keep your butt back, your chest up, and then we'll show you what to do at home to make that even better. All right, so I know we want to be playing pickleball all day, every day, but there are things that we can do right now at home that will help us to be able to do that even more. So as promised, we're going to make sure that every one of our exercises we can do at home with household items, because at this point, a pickleball is a household item, of course. So because we're addressing low back pain this time, we want to make sure that we reduce some of the pulling of our glutes. So we're going to use these fancy pickleballs and we're going to sit on them. But seriously, what we're doing here is we are going to be inhibiting the muscles of our glutes. So it is a little bit specific in where we place it. I want to place it on my glute, but I also want to just find where it's the most tender. So I am just sitting on it. My left leg is just going to be here to support me, and then this leg is actually free to explore, meaning if I extend it and kind of rotate, I'm still sitting on the pickleball. I found a tender spot. That means that I have a knot there. The muscle is bound, and when the muscle's bound, it can't use itself very well. So it's reduced power, and then when we're out on the court and we're hinging forward, our muscles then have to use our back to get up instead of our glutes. Our glutes are sleepy, they're tired, they're weak, they're tight. All this is doing is this is relaxing the glute itself. So I know it's tender, and I know I didn't instruct you any more than just to sit on it for now and find a tender spot, but that's quite literally all I want you to do. I want you to sit here for at least 30 seconds and just focus on your breathing. So just breathe in slowly, 4 seconds in through the nose, 4 seconds out through the mouth if you can, but just relax here. You should feel that the pain starts to dissipate a little bit. That's a good thing. That's your muscles unwinding. If you were to think about it, if we were to have a double knotted shoelace, if we just stretch, if I just pull on the end of it, I get a little bit of length, but the knot is still there. What we're doing right now is we're untying the first knot. So we're applying pressure to the muscles. We have specific receptors in our muscles that actually release it when they feel tension. We're undoing that first knot, and then when we stretch afterwards, we're going to be undoing that second knot here. So now that we've been sitting on the glute and on the pickleball on one side, we'll just move it to the other side. So same thing, you might find different spots here. I might find it a little bit more external, but I'm just, again, it's not rocket science here. I'm just sitting on it wherever I find it tender. For me, it's a little bit more up here as it gets closer to the outside of my body and a little bit higher up on my back. So she's choosing to roll a little bit at the same time, which is totally fine too. She's just finding tender spots. The key is just to find that tender spot and to spend some time on it, because it's a good thing that our body doesn't just instantly release if you feel pressure, because someone could come up and touch you and you feel pressure and instead she's spending time on it. So she's been here for about 30 seconds or so. The nice thing about it is I want you to be distracted. Hopefully you're doing it right now with us and we're having this go on and on because I want you to be here for a bit and just forget about it. The more you can breathe, the more you can relax, the more time that you'll feel there that the tension just starts to dissipate. And then when we go straight to the stretch, which we're going to do right now, it's going to be a whole lot more effective. So now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and get up. Then we're going to go on to our couch and we're going to sit on it just in a special way. So we're going to sit here and then we're just going to rotate to one side so that my foot, the one that has my knee on the couch, is off. And now I'm just going to spend time just kind of leaning forward and exploring where I'm tight. So why I would do this is I would do this to just explore some movement here. So you'll find that the longer that we do this, and the fact that we just inhibited the muscles with the fancy schmancy pickleball, is we're just going to be able to get some more length here. So we're not forcing it, but we're just exploring some movement at the same time. So you can see that Jamie can actually even move forward a little bit more than I can here. I'm a little bit tighter than she is. So it means that I'm a little bit more at risk with my low back hurting after playing a bunch of pickleball. And that might even be why it's a little bit tender today. It's fine that it's different every time that you do this. You're not going for specific goals here. We don't have to push it, but just breathe lightly and sit and just spend some time with it. And you'll really find that these small things at home with just literally a pickleball on your own couch are going to make a giant difference for you. You don't have to be at the gym. You can be sitting watching your favorite Selkirk TV shows while you're doing so. But seriously, this will make a really, really big difference in the health of your back, keeping you out there in the court as long and healthy as you want to be. So the next part of the equation of fixing our low back pain so we can play pickleball all day is our hips, the front of it. Because if we think about it, the two biggest parts of the equation are our hips and our glutes in terms of how they affect our back. These are the two aspects that actually protect our back, or if they're not working very well together, they're not very good partners, then they can actually hurt our back instead. So what we're going to do is we're now going to, same kind of formula, we're going to get the knot out of our hip flexor. So this is a deep psoas muscle. So it's a little bit hard to get to, but surprisingly, actually a pickleball is very effective on how to do it. So we're going to grab a pickleball and we're going to get on the ground here, and we're going to be placing the pickleball right here pretty low. Kind of, this is my pant line here, pretty low and off to the side a bit, and you'll move around and explore it. But we're looking for where is tender. Yep, right about there. We're looking for a tender spot here to just lay on it and spend some time. Again, I'm pretty close, but I'm not quite there. I'm going to rotate. Actually, I need to go a little bit higher. So I needed to get mine a little bit more in line with my pant line. And now it's tender. That is the point. We're going to stay here for at least 30 seconds. We're going to relax here and just breathe. Jamie, did you find one too?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, she found one. It's surprisingly, the fact that pickleballs are good for this is amazing. Because the biggest thing is we've all done this where we've had a doctor or a physical therapist give us an amazing exercise and maybe even the equipment to do it for what we just paid them to fix. And we didn't do the exercise. So if we don't do these exercises, they're not helpful. So the whole reason why we're designing all of these to be done right now, hopefully you're doing it with us at home, is that I seriously want you to just spend time here and then distract yourself. Watch your favorite Selkirk TV shows. Watch pros play pickleball and learn some new tips at the very same time. Just distract yourself. Just make sure you keep breathing. I know it's hard for me to keep breathing while I'm also talking to you the whole time, but just keep breathing instead. And the minimum is really about 30 seconds here, but there's not much of a maximum. So seriously, just kind of forget about the fact that you're here, and you'll feel your hip flexor really start to release. Again, there's receptors in our muscles that when they feel tension, they start to release, they start to undo the knots for us. So we're still just spending time with it right here. Now it's not really tender for me anymore here, so I might see if there's another spot, but not so much at the moment, which means it's a perfect time to go ahead and get up. And now we're going to do the hip stretch. So we're going to stretch that same spot. So basically we got the knot out, and now we're going to go ahead and do the stretch. So we're going to do two versions here. This is called a couch stretch, but I'm going to do the easier version. Yay! And Jamie's going to do the harder version here. So basically we're just going to get into a lunge. She's just going to lunge with her foot up on the couch. She's then going to make sure that she has her knee as parallel as she can to the couch. So right now her knee was a little bit away from the couch. Yep, as close as you can. Now it's going to be harder for her to be as, yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So if she were to have her knee further away from the couch, she would find her ability to stand up tall easier. As close as her knee gets to the couch, the harder it's going to be for her to be vertical. Now, while she's here, she's also going to be squeezing this part of the hip here. That's what's going to help her be nice and tall. So she's actually squeezing her glutes and she's squeezing her hips. And that diagonal force is what's protecting that back. So your low back hurts in pickleball because it's doing stuff it shouldn't be doing. There's no reason for your back to be doing really kind of anything. It's along for the ride. It's attached to some of the biggest and strongest muscles that we have. So she's spending time there. I'm going to go ahead and just do it on the ground if you'd like. And if you want to put something padded under your knee that's on the ground, it's totally fine to do so. This has nothing to do with how padded or unpadded your knee is. It's just time in this position. So my version here, my foot's just not up. So it's a little bit easier here. I can be up nice and tall, and I can focus on squeezing my hip here. So if this one is hard, do this one instead. just then make sure that I'm not just hanging out here. Instead of hanging out in here, I'm gonna squeeze my hip. I'm gonna kind of force my hips forward, squeeze for 5 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And Jamie could have done it too. Hers is just way worse. And then I'm gonna relax and then see if I can get a little bit straighter. Stand up a little bit taller, and then if you can breathe a little bit more freely. So now that we've done this for a good bit, that's been plenty of time. It's been past 30 seconds. Again, no real rocket science in terms of how long. That's the good thing. I want you to distract yourself, just spend some time in these positions, because we spend so much time in the opposite positions instead. We sit, we work, we're on our phone, we're watching TV. Instead, I challenge you seriously to do all of those things that you can. Driving would be tough, but in these positions instead. I answer most of my emails in that glute position. I answer a lot of them in this same way as well too. We just have to make sure that we don't go from this position to then go play pickleball and then start to do this instead. If you can do this as a warm-up throughout the day, your body's gonna thank you, and so is your low back.